Welcome back to our channel, guys. On this channel, we show you that it is possible to live without loans. Today, I'm going to be giving an example of why you should be living without loans. When I was 19 years old, someone sued me because of a car loan I got. Let's talk about it. So, when I was 18 years old, I got my first car that I saved up for. I literally saved up all my McDonald's checks and I paid cash for my first car. I missed that car a lot. It was beautiful, but me being young and dumb, I wrecked it, and it was definitely my fault. I had liability insurance, so did not get that replaced. I had to go out and fend for myself. So after that car accident, it was in the wintertime. It was super cold, and really what I should have been doing was saving up for another car at that point. But with it being so cold and me having to get back and forth to work, I felt like I needed a car right away. So I went to a kind of like a buy here, pay here in my local area. Just thinking about it is triggering at this point. But I went there and I showed them my McDonald's pay stubs and they said I could get a car. So this car got, going to this place had all the red flags. Like, it was just like it was like a cute little car place, but it's just like the cars that they advertised for $300 down, which I guess back in this time frame, that wasn't like totally crazy, but it was possible. So that was something I could afford at that point. So that's why I went there and I got a car. To be honest with you, it was just bad financial decisions. I have no idea what my interest rate was. It was a lot of work just to make your car payment. You had to like deposit it into this bank account. It was a little sketchy now that I'm thinking about it. But that was the situation. And so that's what I was accepted for or approved for, was for this car that they had available. So I, got the car, and then I remember driving it. It had a super loud muffler. I'm like, this sounds sketch, but I just got it. That was the car that, at this point, what I saw was that I was gonna have a car to drive myself from A to B again. So I just went with it. And I remember that right after I got that car, I went to work at McDonald's, and then we needed some type of inventory, something we were out of that we needed. So I was like, hey, I just got my new car. But to be honest with you, this car probably was like older than me. And so I was just like, I'm gonna drive my car to the other location. I'll get the stuff that we're out of. It was probably like hamburger buns or something like that, something small. Because I also had just transferred from this location. So of course I wanted to go talk to them and all that. So right as I was driving, there was like a speed bump, and I drove over the speed bump, and something on my car fell off from underneath my car. Like, that was day one of me having this car. I should have immediately at that point, like, took it back. It was just bad. Anyway, so the person who worked there, one of the managers, my old managers, was into cars. He looked at it, did something, got it back up there, so it worked. And what I was thinking was that, okay, good to go. I ended up driving back, but it was like a long time later, like, think that they were kind of asking me like, are you okay at my other location? But ultimately I finally got back and running and everything was fine. So fast forward to let's say like 6 or 7 months later, I am driving to work. At that point I work someplace completely different, but I'm driving to work. I have to take the freeway to get there. I just get off the freeway, and then I'm waiting at a light. You have to like wait at a light in order to get off the freeway. And so the light turns green, I drive, and then I keep going, and then I come to another red light and I stop there. I'm at the second red light. This is the red light that I need to turn basically onto the street that my job is on. So I'm at the second red light. I am waiting. Obviously I have my foot on the brake, waiting for the light to turn green and turn. But as I'm sitting there and my foot's on the brake, obviously if you've driven, you know that as you're sitting with your foot on the brake, there's a resistance. But I'm sitting there, nothing, you know, just waiting for the light to turn green, and suddenly my foot just sinks to the floor, like the brakes just give out, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. But mind you, I'm completely stopped. So there's someone who's in front of me who was driving some type of like GMC, like, I don't want to say SUV, but maybe something that reminded me of like a GMC, like Acadia. And mind you, my vehicle is a 2-door coupe. It's very small. So as I am completely stopped, my brakes give in, and then my car, of course, then goes forward. But when you think about impact, to really make some type of damage or an impact or something of like that, you really have to be going at some type of speed. Anyway, so imagine that I'm sitting there completely fully stopped and my brakes give in. So of course my car does hit her, but she has a trailer hitch on the back of it. And my car just goes into her car. Basically, obviously there was absolutely nothing I could do to stop that. So yeah, that happens, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. Mind you, there was no warning with this car that there was anything wrong with the brakes. Then again, I'm not a car person, but maybe if I got them checked out, there would have been something showing. But to my knowledge, I didn't hear anything whenever I was using the brakes. I never heard any screeching or anything like that. So to me, I didn't think there was anything wrong with the brakes. I never felt any type of like I couldn't stop when I was driving my car. They just felt like normal brakes to me. So I really had no warning, no idea that there was anything wrong with them. Anyway, so that happens. Hits her car, but basically what I do is just park it. I get out. I go to knock on this person's window, just to let her know what happened. Like, hey, my brakes gave out. Sorry, you know, are you okay? I knock on her window, and she is just sitting there, like, looking forward. And I'm at her window. She doesn't even look at me. And I'm, like, knocking on her window. Hello? Like, and she's just, like, sitting here, like, not looking at me, not saying anything. I'm like, okay. So I keep knocking. And then eventually she's like, I'm calling the police. Get away from my car. I'm not talking to you. Okay. So I got away from her car, and we were just sitting here at this like red light that's now green, whereas the people who were in front of her have now driven away and turned and gone on about their day. We're just sitting here because I really can't drive my car. My brakes don't work, and she's just sitting there like, I'm not moving. I'm waiting for the police. So I get back in my car and I just sit there, kind of have my blinkers on and just wait. It takes a good amount of time. Mind you, this is a weekday during like rush hour probably, because I remember I worked at 9 a.m. So it was probably like maybe like 5 to 10 minutes before 9 a.m. whenever this happened. So very busy, on a very busy street. So people just have to kind of go around, and you know, I'm a little uncomfortable because she just is deciding that she's just not going to talk to me. So but yeah, so that happened. We're waiting for the police to get there. A lot of time passed, so at some point I call the police just to say, hey, waiting here. I just hit this woman's car. I'm waiting for the police. Like, do you guys know where they are? Basically. And then all of a sudden, I think as I'm on the phone, I see a cop like drive by. So I'm like, okay, never mind, here they are. So the police, you know, they come, talk to me. Are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine, you know, tell them what happened. They're like, well, she says that you keep hitting her car. Is your car on? I'm like, no, my car has been parked since the accident. And they're like, okay, well, they just like look at my, you know, car and everything, see that I'm not hitting her like repeatedly as she's claiming. Mind you, like I said, I was completely stopped when my brakes gave out. When I got out the car, I took pictures. If I could find those pictures, actually, I definitely know that I have at least 1 or 2 of these pictures. I will put a picture up showing the damage to my car. The damage on her vehicle, there was no damage to her actual vehicle. The only thing, there was a small dent in her trailer hitch. There was no damage to her vehicle at all. So you tell me why she left on a stretcher. I don't know. didn't think much of it, honestly. But, you know, from there, I pretty much just had to try to get another car. So the police helped me get my car, you know, off the road. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot I could do, really. I was like literally using my emergency brake when we were trying to get my car off the street. I ended up just walking to work. I was very late, but I ended up walking to work. It was literally within walking distance. And at that point, I ended up getting another car, yes. But to my surprise, within about, let me think how much time passed, maybe like a year later, my uncle contacted me and told me that someone tried to come and serve me papers at the address I used to live at, where he was then living. And I was just like, huh? Like, I had no idea what that was about. Mind you, so much time had passed, like maybe almost a year. So I finally get over there to look at these papers, and it says that I'm being sued for over 25 grand because of medical expenses of this woman whose car I tapped. Literally, that's what it was. It was a tap. So to be honest with you, if this had happened to me today and I had known that someone was not talking to me after I tapped their car, probably would have known from the very beginning, okay, this person is clearly trying to get a payday. She said that she had gone through extensive medical care and that I was basically going to be paying for that, and for her emotional damages, if I remember correctly, just all these crazy things that she went through for me tapping her car. So if you're someone who likes to pretend and call, oh, my neck, my back, whenever you get hit by a car, or whenever you get in a fender bender, please don't be that person. Please don't do that, especially with me being so young. If I saw this person today, I would have some words. But hey, there's nothing you can do. It's in the past. Getting something like that in the mail, knowing that you owe that much money to someone or could potentially owe that much money to someone, it's scary. If I had not rushed out to get a car payment, basically, mind you, this car that I had gotten, it was $300 a month. It was honestly a little bit of a stretch when I first signed up for it, but then afterwards I was able to make the car payments. I was actually paying double. I knew I wanted to pay it off ASAP, and I remember I was paying like $600 a month on this car payment. That was a lot for me at that point. And I was doing that, and I remember thinking like, okay, how much I paid off? I should have this car almost paid off. And then I go to them about it, talk to them during one of the times that I had to take my car there because I wasn't acting right. That was another time. I went and talked to them and like, no, actually you still owe quite a bit more because interest. And I'm like, interest? What's interest? So yeah, it's just, I think that there needs to be a change with people who are allowed to sign themselves up for debt. Either that, or you need to be really educated in high school. If there was like some type of class I had in high school, knowing how interest works when you sign up for loans, like you're not just paying for the car that you purchased, you're also paying interest on top of that. I should not have been able to like get that loan so easily because I didn't even know how it worked. I didn't even know that I had to pay interest on top of that. So just pretty crazy with that. Ultimately, yes, it was really crazy that I did end up getting sued for this lady's medical bills, over 25 grand. It's so much money when you're not even 20 years old. Like, yes, nowadays we get car loans for 25 grand or more, and it's not that much today, but when you're like someone who's like fresh out of high school, like just graduated high school, and you think that you're gonna have to pay that much money for something that you aren't even reaping any benefits of, it's crazy. So ultimately the outcome of that, apparently I was covered under insurance, you know, to have an attorney help me. I remember I did end up having to get interviewed by the insurance company. They must have thought I was lying. So yeah, I wasn't lying. I was innocent, and ultimately what ended up happening is that this lawsuit ended up getting settled. Did not end up having to pay the $25,000, thank God. I actually didn't end up having to pay anything because my insurance company ultimately was able to settle for the amount and pay her for it, I guess. Just all together, just completely doing the wrong thing. Like, that was just so wrong of her. But honestly, there's lots of people out there who do stuff like that, so I really can't even say a whole lot about it. But that was the outcome of that. Luckily, didn't have to pay anything additional besides like insurance. But to be honest with you, my insurance rates around that time was astronomically high. So maybe I did end up having to pay for it in a sense. I'm not sure. Anyway, this is the story time. Let me know if you guys like story times like this. I have a lot of different crazy things that have happened in my life. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in our next video. Bye.